Good evening and welcome to your primetime news here on TV1 News First. Before we take a look at the headlines for today, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Deshan Gonavala.
And I'm Abrar Abid. Now before we go into our stories in detail, let's take a look at our headlines.
President instructs to further strengthen the fight against drugs. Minister Ravi Karnanayaka says working for people is more important than expanding the cabinet. UNP insists presidential elections should be conducted first while UPFA calls for provincial council polls. 2 university students at the Wayamba University beaten by seniors for opposing ragging.
Now in our lead story, President Maithripala Sirisena has given instructions to the relevant authorities to further strengthen the raids related to illegal drug smuggling.
A statement from the President's Media Division says additional power will be granted to police to carry out necessary action efficiently and the legal drafts are being compiled. According to the President's Media Division, after President Sirisena took over the police department under the Ministry of Defence, during the last 2 months the raids related to illegal drug smuggling were strengthened and there is a significant improvement in detection of illegal drugs. Thus, within the past 2 months, the 15,530 suspects were detained for illegal drug trafficking and they are being persecuted in several courts. 280 kilograms of heroin has also been seized. According to the President's Media Division, 184 kilograms of heroin was seized during the period from the 1st of January 2018 to the 31st of October 2018. A number of programs have been launched under the direction of the President to address the spread of drugs in the country.
Now in more local news, 2 first-year students at the Wayamba University have been admitted to hospital after being attacked by a group of senior students. The victims claim they were attacked for opposing ragging.
The victims are first-year students studying at the Technology Faculty of the Wayamba University. The 2 victims had arrived in a car with 2 other students at around 7:30 last evening to a restaurant situated in close proximity to the Wayamba University. The students were then attacked while they were leaving the restaurant.
Around 100 students came from the university and surrounded the vehicle. They attacked the vehicle while using profanity. They asked us why we were trying to stop ragging, which had been carried out for a long time. I started recording the incident with the flash on. The chairman of the technology faculty came and tried to take the phone from me. It has only been a week since we attended university. They have asked us to shave our beard and cut our hair short.
Several junior students had conducted a meeting to create awareness against ragging a few days ago, and the students who were attacked had been part of the group who had organized the said meeting. The vehicles the victims travelled in was also severely damaged.
Now up next is Crime Watch.
A woman was arrested by police over shooting dead 1 person and injuring 3 others close to the Henamulla housing complex in Grand Pass. Police said the woman is the mistress of notorious organized criminal Bulletin Sanka, who had committed the crime, and she was arrested at her house in Pamunugama. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekura said at the time of the arrest, the suspect was setting fire to the shirt and mobile phone used by Bulletin Sanka at the time of the murder. The victim of last morning's drive-by shooting was 32-year-old Dinesh Eranga. The injured continue to remain in hospital. A police sergeant was stabbed to death in South Nivandagama, Jayala. The deceased 49-year-old Nishanka Jayawardena was attached to the police hospital in Narayanpeta. Police said the killer had entered the house of the police sergeant last night and committed the murder following a heated confrontation. The suspect had attended a ceremony in celebration of the victim's wedding anniversary and a dispute had occurred between the two at the said ceremony. When I was preparing to go to the grocery store, my brother's wife and his daughter came running and told me that my brother was stabbed. When I asked them who did it, they said it was a neighbor. The suspect, who is a resident at a nearby house of the victim, is an ex-army officer. The body of a female was discovered from a canal in Horana this morning. The body was discovered by the Moragahahena police. The deceased was identified as a 78-year-old female who was an area resident. The entry and exit routes of the suspects who carried out the shooting at the Kudawella Fisheries Harbour in Tangol have been discovered by the police. According to the police, the routes have been identified when analyzing CCTV footage obtained from the time of the incident. It has also been revealed that the motorbike used in the shooting did not have number plates. Police also suspect that another vehicle had been used to carry out the shooting. A senior police officer said a special probe will commence on the telephone conversations that have taken place between the victims. Data from 4 mobile networks are to be obtained for this analysis. More than 50 people have been interrogated regarding the shooting, which was carried out at the Kudavella harbour. 4 people died and 8 others sustained injuries as a result of the shooting, which occurred on Tuesday. The shooting had taken place as a result of a dispute between 2 warring factions. The final rites of the deceased are to take place tomorrow.
Now, moving on from those crime stories, at an event held yesterday, the Anunayaka of the Siam sect of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Anamaduwe Dhammadasi Thero, expressed opinions on the increasing number of crimes in the country.
We went wrong from the day that we parted ourselves from education affiliated to the temple. Our children are killing each other today. Yesterday on Christmas Day, 4 or 5 people have been gunned down. Even today, 2 deaths have been reported from a shooting. These are all children who attended schools. The Thera expressed these opinions at an event held in commemoration of the late Mahanayaka of the Siam sect of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Galagama Attadasi Thera. The Mahanayaka of the Siam sect of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Jnanaratna Thera, and several other clergy were present at this event.
In more local news, Champika Premadasa assumed duties as the State Minister of Power and Renewable Energy today.
Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ravi Karunanayake was also present during the event.
I have worked with Minister Karunanayake for 22 years, and today I have been appointed as the State Minister under your purview as the Cabinet Minister of Power and Renewable Energy. Therefore, I hope to do just to this ministry, disregarding any political preferences.
විදුලි අතිරික්තයෙන් තියෙන අවුරුද්දක් වේවා. කැබිනට් කමිටුවේ සංඛ්‍යාව වෙනසක් වෙනවද මොකක්ද කියලා. අපිට මේ තියෙන සංඛ්‍යාව රට හදමු.
Let's build this country with the numbers we have. The current group of ministers is a good combination. It's good if they join. Failing, we will take the country forward. What's important is to serve the people and not to appoint the cabinet ministers for no reason.
අවශ්‍ය වන්නේ ජනතාවට සේවය කරන එක තමයි අවශ්‍ය වන්නේ.
Now, UNP parliamentarian Palitha Rangibandara expressed his displeasure on the current developments at a meeting held in Anamaduwa last evening.
The whole country said Range Bandara will be a minister. There is no government without Range Bandara, and Range Bandara is the turning point. Now the government is formed and the cabinet is appointed, but the turning point is out and the ones turned are in. So the turning point has to be turned if these issues remain unchanged until 2019. We accept state or non-cabinet portfolios. The only way to build this district is to sit in a cabinet ministry.
In more local news, the United National Freedom Front convened a media briefing today.
If there is anyone who says that Sajith Premadasa will be named as a presidential candidate for the 2020 presidential election, that is a myth. If that is to happen, he should be given the position now, because he cannot make predictions for just this a month away from the election. Therefore, do not be deceived by these lies. We would like to state clearly that Ranil Wickremesinghe is on a mission of taking the UNP, which is in one of the greatest parties in the country, down to its grave. If Sajith Premadasa is the presidential candidate who is the prime minister's candidate, that candidate cannot be named. This is a complete sham. He thinks he can win the election in 2020. Today, the TNA is with him and so are the Muslim parties. He thinks that he can win the election with the support of the TNA and the Muslim parties. The TNA will not get the same number of votes that they got if they go for an election after polling the constituents. This is why the TNA is against going for an election.
TN එකත් ඡන්දයකට යන්න විරුද්ධ.
UNP parliamentarian SM Marika convened a press briefing today.
මැතිවරණයක් තියන්න බෑනේ. මැතිවරණයක් තියන්න පුළුවන් 2020 පෙබරවාරි මාසේ 17 වෙනිදායින් පස්සේ.
An election can only be held after the 17th of February in 2020, following the completion of 4.5 years. If an election is to be held prior to this, approval of a 2/3 majority is required. A presidential election must be held first, as the president can call for a presidential election at any point after the 8th of January next year. Since the Flower Bud and the president have joined hands, we challenge them to hold a presidential election. Mahinda Rajapaksa also called for a presidential election 2 years prior to the completion of his tenure. Therefore, we request President Sirisena to hold elections 1 year prior to the completion of his tenure.
Now, parliamentarian Lakshman Yapa Abewardhana expressed these at a media briefing yesterday.
The president will decide when to hold the presidential election. These ministers cannot decide that. The only election which can be held is the provincial council elections. So there is an option. The Prime Minister has not submitted the committee report. Now Parliament has the power to bring a resolution and pass it with 2/3 to go back to the old way. If you do not fear elections, please hold the provincial council elections.
Now, the chairman of the Pavidi Handa organisation, Venerable Munuttettuwe Anandathero, offered a word of advice to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
In the past, we made a request for Mahinda Rajapaksa to consider the situation of the country and act with a vision of the future. Based on the opinions of various parties, he dissolved the government when he had 2 years left, and now we are facing this situation. Even today, there is a meeting of the joint opposition. They are holding discussions day and night to form an alliance. So I would like to advise him to think far and wide before he acts. Don't repeat the same mistakes of the past. One day I reminded him that it would be better to hang oneself than embark on the path that he was on at the time. I was the first person to advise against welcoming the 16 that defected from the government. But now there is nothing that can be done. I kindly request the former president and current opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa to build the trust the people have in him and move forward. I kindly request him to honestly act according to his conscience without listening to these tattletales and pundits. If not, what will unfold will be similar to that of the tale in the Ummagga Jataka story. There is nothing else that we can say. Personally, I am not in favor of this, because the Pohotua party came a long way at a fast pace. But if we see a mistake somewhere, and if we do fall, we can correct it and rise up again. We have the strength to do that.
Now, the island reported that 3 lawmakers representing the Tamil National Alliance will soon give up their foreign citizenship to contest the next parliamentary polls. As per the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, dual citizens cannot contest parliamentary and presidential elections or function as MPs in the current parliament.
The article quoted a senior TNA official saying that the decision had been taken after UPFA Galle District MP Geeta Kumarasinghe lost her parliamentary seat in early November 2017 for being a dual citizen. According to the article, TNA officials said that the 3 MPs would relinquish their foreign citizenship early next year. When Newsfirst contacted the TNA MP M.A. Sumandiran, he said, quote, "As far as I am aware, there are no dual citizens in the TNA."
Sumandran and the clan have undermined the legislature. We should go to courts to check whether this government has a majority. Mr. Sumandran, don't throw stones from glass houses, as he too has issues with citizenship and it will pop up in the coming days.
Now, the United People's Freedom Alliance convened a press briefing in Colombo today.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාට බහුතරේ තියෙනවා කියලා උසාවිය තීන්දුව කරන කොටත්
It has clearly been proved that when courts decided Ranil Wickremesinghe claimed majority in Parliament, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa had 1 vote higher than Wickremesinghe. Even to date, Ranil Wickremesinghe has no majority in Parliament. Now, if the TNA voted in favour of the vote on account, and if they are to support Ranil Wickremesinghe to claim majority, they are a part of the ruling party. Therefore, they have no right to request for the position of opposition leader. The Speaker accepts Mahinda Rajapaksa as the leader of the opposition, and there is no other option than to accept this fact. I'd like to say to our good friend Sumandiran that he is now the owner and operator of the UNP. However, it is baseless to point fingers at our opposition leaders, as it is we who decide whether he is still part of the UPFA or not. We will provide our support to hold elections, and if elections are not called, we will proceed to hold elections by even toppling the government. In case we do so, we are ready to form a new one.
පෙරලා ආණ්ඩුවක් හදන්නත් සූදානම් කියන කාරණේ මම ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න කැමතියි.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කටයුතු පාලනය කිරීම උසාවියටයි දෙයක් නෙමෙයි.
Controlling parliamentary activities is not a responsibility of the judiciary. It is the Speaker's decision that must be followed, and this is what happens to us. Does Sumandiran know better than the party's secretary over Mahinda Rajapaksa's membership?
අද ඒගොල්ලෝ උසාවිය යන්නේ හරියට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මහගෙදර යනවා. පිටන් නරකයි උසාවියේ එයාගේ විසිට කාමරයේ ගිය.
They go to courts similar to visiting their ancestral home. The president does not support this government. He has an agreement with our opposition. It is the government that is caught amid these two forces. This is Ranil Wickremesinghe's government. Therefore, they will be compelled to bring a proposal to dissolve parliament.
විසුරුවාරින්නේ කියලා යෝජනාවක් ගේන්න.
තනිපක්ෂයක ආණ්ඩුවක් හදනවා.
According to Article 46, a single party government cannot exceed the limit of 30 cabinet ministers. It is the president who decides on the number of ministers. According to Article 43, the president has the right to change the portfolios of the present cabinet as well as refrain from making appointments, similar to the case of Sarath Fonseca. The president does not have to consider the prime minister's opinion when changing portfolios of ministers who have already been appointed.
විමසීමක් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේත් නැහැ.
අපි විපක්ෂ නායක ධූරයටම ගියොත් ඔබතුමාලම තමයි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්න ඕන මූලික වශයෙන්.
සිලෙක්ට් කොමිටි දාලා විපක්ෂ.
There is no country that forms a select committee to choose the opposition leader, and that cannot be done either. The position of opposition leader should be given to us. We will continue our fight in parliament to obtain this position.
ඉන්දිකටම පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අරගල කරනවා.
සම්බන්ධන් මහත්තයයි TNA එකයි.
The act between Sambandhan, the TNA and the UNP is like a joke where a couple who shows the world that they are husband and wife refuses such claims and says they are not married.
TNA කරමින් ඒ දෙගොල්ලන් අමුසන්නියන් දැව්වාම කියනවා නෑ නෑ අපි කසාද බැඳලා නෑ. අන්න ඒ වගේ ජෝක් එකක්.
ආණ්ඩුව පෙරලන්න පුළුවන්.
We will topple the government at the first opportunity we get. Whether the toppling will take place through an election or not is irrelevant.
මැතිවරණයක් නොවේද කියන කාරණේ අදාළ වෙන්නේ නෑ.
Now, Ashoka Singh assumed duties as the State Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation today.
The State Minister assumed duties at the Ministry of Transport today amid the presence of the former Minister of Transport Nimal Siripala de Silva.
I am present here today to appreciate your services. We have already prepared the field for you to bat. Therefore, there is no room to decelerate growth.
Our responsibilities are now to provide the public with the necessary facilities and to protect the continuity of these institutions while further improving them.
There is a possibility of Sri Lankan Airlines falling under the purview of our ministry. If this does not take place, we hope to proceed with a public-private joint venture.
Now, there was a heated exchange of words at the meeting of the Baddegam Pradeshiya Sabha today during the debate on land auctions.
මගේ නමින් මේ චෝදනා කරලා තියන්නේ මම වෙනුවෙන් වෙන කවුරු හරි මම සල්ලි ගන්න ඕන නම් ඒව සක්තිලි වැඩ ඒ නිසා මම ගිහිල්ලා චෝදනා කළා ඔය මොනවද කියන්නේ ඒව නිලධාරි ගන්න ඕන නම් ඒ සේවකයව පන්නන්න ඒ සේවකයව පන්නන්න අපි කියන්නේ ඒකයි මේ සල්ලි ඉල්ලලා නම් ඒවල සියදි වසා ගන්නවා ඒක තමයි පාවුල ළමයි පස්සේ මන්තුමා ඔබතුමා අස්සගෙන ලියුම ඔබතුමාගේ මන්තුරු හතරේ කස්සම ලියුමක් පෙන්නන ඉඩම සම්බන්ධව කොහෙද ඔයි අර ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ ඉතින් ඔව් මන්තුරුගේ කැබිනට් බස් කොහෙද කොහෙද කියන්නේ අතුල ලයිම ළඟ පල්ලෙහා ඉඩමට ඔබතුමා අතර මන්තුරු තුන් දෙනෙක් කස් කරමු ලියුමක් මගේ ළඟ තියෙනවා වෙන්නේ නේවා හරිද මම ඒක කරන්නේ නැහැ
බොරු කතා බොරු ටෝක් එපා මන්තුමා. බොරු ටෝක් එපා. ඊයේ අන්දාවේ ඊයේ හවස මට ඔයාලා ඊයේ හවස මේ සභාවේ එහා පැත්තේ මගේ ඩ්‍රයිවර් තමයි කෝල් එක දෙන්නේ. ෆෝන් එක ගන්න වෙන්නේ. ඔබතුමාට තමයි කෝල් එක දෙන්නේ. මම දෙන්නකෝ ඉන්නකෝ. මේ නිකන් මෙතන මේ සුද්ධ වෙන්නේ යනවා.
First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
Even though I lost my right leg, I did not fall down in life. I had an aim to succeed. I pursued that aim. Now my aim is to win an award at this prestigious ceremony. I am ready for Platinum Awards. I am Dumira Maduranga.
Sports First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
Well, that's a wrap of news for tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow, but in the meantime, to stay updated on the very latest from here at home and around the world, you can join us on our award-winning website www.newsfirst.lk. I've been Deshan Gonawala for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Abrar Abid. A very good night and take care.